right path. You are on the right journey. The journey of self-discovery, the journey of self-love, the journey of self-empowerment. Stay on this journey. All right, all right, all right. Whatever just happened, but we are here. We are here. Give me a few likes, guys. Give me a few thumbs ups in the comment section to see who's there. I have 3 guys on. I appreciate you guys. NB is on. I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, my moderator. You are always faithful. Looking forward to your questions. NB. Who else is in the house? Rock, are you in the house? We are back live. Thanks for your patience, guys. We have a special show tonight. It's special because I am not going to be the one teaching or sharing insights or sharing information. I have a brother, like the thumbnail says. Yeah, just be patient, love. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'm going to show him. Just give me a minute. Boss at home, welcome. I see you, brother, with your great smile. I see you, brother. You've been dropping gems for those of us who work from home. My brother just hit 90 days on monk mode, hard mode right now. What do they call it? What else? What's the other name? Monk mode or hard mode, yes, right? And he's here with me. So I'm sure a lot of guys would want to know how he's done it. And he's going to be sharing that information with us tonight. So we have about 3 guys. I want to say welcome. 4 guys now. Welcome. Thank you guys for being here. This is what semen retention does for you. This is what NoFap does. It enables us to put together projects that we can succeed at. So this is a story of success for you guys, although it's mine, but it's for you because I have done it for you as well. Because I've done the work, because I've been on the journey, I am able to put this together and come through. Give me a few likes, guys, and come through and bring you and men who can educate you, who can help you, who can share insights with you and knowledge. 2 weeks ago or last week, I brought you Rock, my personal trainer. And today I'm bringing you a gentleman who's also Rock's client.
Correct.
And Rock introduced us and then he said, well, by the way, I saw your show with Rock. It was great. But by the way, I'm on semen retention too. And I just hit 90 days hard mode. And I screamed. So what? Whoa, wait a minute. I need to bring you on. And so, gentlemen, I introduce to you Harvey. Welcome, my brother.
Thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure.
It's good to have you. We are going to talk about a lot. We have 5 categories of things that we are going to talk about. I have a moderator on the show who crafted some intelligent questions. This guy is very good at putting together intelligent questions, and he's going to pop the questions there whenever there's not a question.
Sure.
And to help us get the most value out of the information that we are seeking to get across to these guys tonight. Rock, I see you. Respect King.
What's up, Rock? I'll see you tomorrow.
Cross, crisscross. I think that's probably an inside something. I don't know.
Yes.
He's not talking to me.
That's my.
He's talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't know what that is. So thank you guys for being here. Looking forward to a lot of questions. Who else is here? Who else is in the house? We have 6 guys in the house. Who else is here? All right. And so, Harvey, tell us just a little bit about yourself. I'm not expecting you to go all the way out because this journey is considered to be a pseudo science and a pseudo area type of thing. But as comfortable as you are, just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are currently right now, what's your background, and then we'll take it off from there.
Sure. Once again, thank you for having me here. I'm originally from Queens, New York.
Oh.
I've been in Georgia for over 20 years, done many different occupations. What I do currently is I'm a tutor, and I tutor in statistics, chemistry, math, 3rd grade and up. Also, I'm a tax preparer. I have my own tax prep business. I also worked for TurboTax as a tax expert. Basically, I try to do as much as I can to keep my head above water.
Right. Awesome. Well, I didn't know that about you. Any New Yorker in the house? Anybody from New York in the house? Give them a thumbs up. I did not know that you actually tutor statistics.
Correct.
I probably need to talk to you. I probably need some tutoring. I think it's statistics is very important right now in this day and age of technology, understanding data out there.
I agree. Most occupations are using metrics to determine efficiency of their craft. Like a lot of nurses have to take statistics because when they do papers towards the end of their collegiate career, they have to do case studies, which involve statistics.
Interesting. Maybe later on we'll ask a question of how FAPPing affected that, because you got to have a sharp mind to be able to do that. Somebody already have a question. I'm gonna put the question on the screen. So when we have a question, I'm gonna put it on the screen and then give it a few seconds. It's gonna pop up there. You'll read it and then we read it and then you answer it.
Sure.
So it says, with porn being so easily available, how does one even begin to restrain their natural quest for women? Right, you got me right. This is a macro question. This is a big question. How does one even begin? I think we can write a huge book on that question alone. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to answer. Well, you go ahead and answer first.
Honestly, it's all a choice. You can choose to watch porn if you want to, even though it's available, because you still control what you allow yourself to absorb. But I know for a fact that porn does give you a false idea about how women are. Because you're comparing what you see in porn to real life. It is not just porn that you're looking at. You're also looking at Instagram models and what you see on TV and other social medias.
So you're saying a place to begin because I think that's the main part of the question. The place to begin is to realize that it's a choice.
Correct. Because like you choose the food that you eat, you choose where you want to go, you choose what you want to wear, you can choose to watch porn.
So that's that choice aspect. What I've heard is all would be well if men didn't have any choice, like couldn't choose, like the animals. The animals are wired instinctively to do the things that they do. And so that protects them in a way. Of course, they're limited in terms of what they can do. And besides their intelligence level, if they have any, because they're wired with instincts. But men having the ability to choose gives them a burden. And if we believe in the Christian model of the origin of the world, Adam and Eden being in the garden, placed in the garden by God, because they had the choice, because God did not take the choice away, if we believe in that story, right? I'm not pushing religion. They already know that. Then Adam and Eve had a choice, and because they had a choice, that became the biggest burden. Resisting became a problem, because whenever you have a choice, it's like a child, a toddler, you ask not to touch the cookie. That's a problem.
Right.
That's a problem. What I can say about the question, the place that we can begin is with no FAPP, but then that will be a step up from what Harvey just said. Once you realize that you have a choice, then you can decide which other more profitable route you want to take. And porn will still chase you, though. Porn will still follow you. Porn is everywhere. It's in the movies, which I don't watch, but it's everywhere. It's going to follow you. But if we keep that element of choice in mind, and then we can get into no FAPP. At least right now, the best we can do is to not engage blindly into mainstream porn. And mainstream porn, I mean even the R&B videos, the twerk videos, and those websites out there that we know exist. That's a great place to start. And of course, once we start there, then the next step might be semen retention. Well, actually will be, as a matter of course, it will be semen retention. And once we get that healing that semen retention brings about, then you're on the right path. But these answers, both yours and mine, are just scratching the surface of that question. I mean, of course, we have to acknowledge that the question is asked by an intelligent man. It's a big question. So thank you, Rock. Yeah, he said, thank you. It's a choice. Thanks for being here, guys. We have 10 guys and we only have 3 likes. Guys, let's just smash that like button so we can, to help that video. Hopefully YouTube does not take this video down. I did a live on Sunday night and they took it down. They reinstated it. YouTube has reinstated my video because I appealed it. And they emailed back saying they apologize. Upon review of the video, they have reinstated the video. So the live is back on because there was nothing in it for them to take it down. Hopefully that doesn't happen with this one, and then we have to appeal YouTube to get the video back up. Give me a few likes, guys. We have 9 guys. Give me a few likes. And B, you can start with your first question. Our first category here is, let's talk about porn, and most particularly its negative effect on men, but most particularly on you. Like, what was your experience on porn? And again here, to the degree that you're comfortable with the information that you put out there about yourself, because I know that has to be a concern.
Well, porn wasn't that much of a strain because of access. Because I'm 43. So the access to porn growing up wasn't as readily available as it is now. If you had a cable box, you had to do some tricks to get the porn channel because it was blocked. But your mind is a better porn hub than Pornhub itself.
Haven't heard that before. Interesting.
Because you could take any woman you want, and in the fantasy, it's you. And you could get to imagine whatever you want to do with that woman.
Interesting. I want you to talk a little bit more about the fantasy. The reason is I don't have much to say about the fantasy because early on I made a decision not to indulge in the fantasy. Well, I don't want to say indulge. That's not the route I went. I went the route of finding it. With that came a few years of prostitution. That is going on the road looking for women, and ordering women from those escort services, Backpage, and before Backpage, Craigslist. It was Craigslist. Craigslist used to have that. I mean, it was big business, and of course, I used to roam the streets of Orlando, Florida, looking for women. And it's only a few occasions that I use my imagination. So let's talk more, elaborate more on the fantasy side, because I do know there are guys who, in coaching, even if they're staying away from porn, but then they still get into that imagination, they still get into that mental fantasy, and then they relapse without the porn. Whereas for me, if I didn't have the porn, I wasn't going to relapse. So,
well, when you don't have real access to porn, or if it's not as appealing, sometimes you can take a girl that you like, that you see on the street, and sometimes you may say, wow, what I would do to that ass. Or even a chick that might be your friend, or whomever you see on the street, your friend, college student, your co-worker, whatever the case may be, because only thing you're using is a visual picture that you store in your memory bank. And then if you have an urge, you want to fap to something that is appealing. And if porn is not available, your mind has an unlimited storage of pictures to use from. So, and it's all about why you fap. Right.
Let's talk about that. So I can tie that up because I've tried it. In fact, let me tell you, I don't read nonfiction for that same reason. I don't read what do they call those novels? Novels, right? Like
the romance
novels. Right. Because I read one when I was younger, and it took me to a whole new world that I knew if I could travel in that path, I probably would struggle to have to come back to this life. Because perhaps it's because I have a vivid imagination or something. I don't know, but that's the reason I don't read those, and that's the reason that primary reason I don't watch television, because going into the fictional world would just take me off this planet, and knowing what I know about imagination being the crucible for creation and all that. So I stayed away. So I don't really know much. But listening to you saying that imagination, it's your own world. It's your own database and server.
Correct. And it's unlimited.
Interesting. That's good. Any question about that, guys? Any comment? Any comment, guys? Say something about the imagination. In what capacity have you used your imagination? Anybody has anybody? Which one of you guys have had the same experience as Harvey, and which one have had the same experience as me? So, are you also saying that you did not really struggle with porn?
I have watched porn as I've gotten better access to it. But the guilt after you FAP, because you wanted to have that feeling, I've used porn to FAP at times, or I use my imagination. So I had either or to choose from because we have easier access to it nowadays. Because even in the late 2000s, if you try to access porn on a computer, they'll give you a thumbnail with maybe 30 seconds and you have to pay for it. Now porn is free. And the type of items you can choose from is almost unlimited.
Unlimited.
So whatever fantasies, fetishes you want to watch, it might be there. But nothing beats your mind.
Right. Of course. You don't have to open a laptop with your mind. You don't have to have internet connection with your mind.
Correct.
You don't even have, you can actually sit in a waiting room at the doctor's office and that no nurse just passed by. That's got to be sweet. I mean, I'm definitely not going to go use it. But I wonder if I've missed something. I wonder if I've missed something. Go ahead, NB. There's a question.
Sure.
Okay. No, I think it's a comment. The first line of defense for me is my imagination. For me, the imagination was half the battle. Okay. Okay. We got you. So the imagination was half the battle. And I imagine the other half was the porn itself, like the videos themselves. Comment from your best guy. I have crossed experience and King as well. Been a wild dude most of my life. Yes. Questions, guys? Yeah, thank you, Rock. Thanks for being here, Rock. Here is a question. What changes did you see in how you view the world, relationships, and women as you stopped watching porn or cutting out the fantasy? Good question.
For me, I see the world as it is, because it's no need to try to place something on something that's not there. So whatever the world gives you, accept it as it is. Because most people will tell you and show you how they really are. So just don't deny it. Accept it, analyze it, and then decide whether it's good for you. Keep it. If it's not good for you, get rid of it.
So you're saying it's a sense of grasping reality, like what's out there, what you're dealt with.
Correct.
And that's one of the problems for us and guys who've struggled with porn is you spend a lot of time in your mind, a lot of time in that fantasy world that you, although you're walking the earth and you're interacting with people, but you have lost touch with reality because you're constantly fighting and pushing against reality. So you're saying an acceptance of what you're dealt with.
That's winning the battle, because a lot of times, instead of trying to force yourself into something or trying to fight something, expend more energy trying to fight something. Just let it be, let it take its course, and it'll be a lot shorter in time frame. Because the only thing you control is your reaction to something.
Right.
So when you can watch porn, even if it's going across, treading the fine line, but you don't have to react to it. You could laugh at it because it doesn't have control over you in terms of reacting.
Right. Here is a comment. The more I know about semen retention and its benefits, the harder it is when I relapse. I feel weak and like death when I relapse. Now, is that normal?
Yes, it's normal, because once you know something and you still do the wrong thing, it's like it's you're self-loathing, you're self-hating, because why go against something you know that is not good for you? It doesn't benefit you anyway. So yes, I have fapped, and then immediately after the I'm like, why the heck did I do this?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary. It was X amount of minutes or whatever the case may be for the big but what did I get out of it? Nothing. But it was a choice. And every choice you have has a consequence. And a consequence is not necessarily good or bad, is a cause and effect.
True. Not necessarily good or bad, but there is a causal relationship. What I can say about how bad you feel after the relapse, there is a beneficial side to it. It's a holy anger, and also it's your conscience.
Yes.
That's playing a part in it, because you know what's good, like you just said. You know what not to do, but albeit you're still weak to it now. Now, you're still weak to the habit and you're still practicing the habit, but you know it's not good for you. And that part of your conscience comes up. Now, also, it'll benefit you to know that on fapping, on porn, you have some unconscious self-loathing. You have some unconscious self-hate. And I rightly said unconscious. And that's because the unconscious part of yourself, your unconscious self-image and your self-esteem knows what you truly want to be and what you truly want to do. And yet you're practicing a self-destructive habit. And each time you do it, you unconsciously despise yourself. It's just like, there we go. I hope they don't take the video for the comment I'm about to make. It's the same thing for a whore, a woman who's whoring the whole city. Her unconsciously, she hates herself, because every time she performs the act, her unconscious mind despises her even further. But also, Wave TV, there is a point where you begin to have compassion for yourself and you begin to be patient with yourself, where although you may relapse, but you consciously start telling yourself, it's okay, I'm making progress, at least I'm on the journey, and everybody else, every other guy has gone through the same path. Every other guy has struggled with the same things. So if anybody's going to be patient with me, it's going to be me first.
Correct.
And if anybody's going to have compassion on me, it's going to be me first. I'm making that choice and that decision today to have some compassion for myself and to be patient because I only have one life to live after all. And there's no prototype. There's not a person out there that we can look up to and say, oh, this is how you're supposed to be. So if there's no prototype, then you are your own prototype.
Right.
Your idea of who you want to be is your own prototype.
Ironically, being your own prototype, you will end up, if your prototype is such a way that brings light to people, people will start to emulate you because of how you are handling life, how you're being disciplined, being responsible, and they can feel the energy from you.
Correct. So you're going to get to that place of self-acceptance as well as compassion for yourself. So that place is coming.
And it's a matter of belief in yourself, because nobody's going to give it to you but yourself. We all know that we are our own worst critics and enemy, but we have to be aware of that. A lot of people, like for me, for a while, I didn't know I was my own worst enemy, because there was times where I did chase people's acceptance because of how I lived and grew up, being a nerd or being short and trying and having a Napoleon complex. So all those things may have contributed to fapping. I don't know.
They certainly have. Not that I know your personal story, but that's the truth out there. We have a wide array of things that serve as triggers and as reasons for self-sabotage. And of course, seeking validation is one of them. Childhood trauma is one of them.
Right.
Attachment wounds is one of them, like growing up with one parent and not the other, and seeking to be liked, to be accepted. It's one of them. So based on what we know to be the truth, we can say yes, definitely those were part of that. Oh, thank you, NB. Appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. Guys, send more questions. So let's go into our second segment, which is NoFap and semen retention. Any more questions on the first segment, guys, which was porn and its negative effect on men as well as on Harvey's life? Well, I mean, you know. Hold on. You got a question?
Sure.
I'm gonna put it there and wait for it to go over there. Cross, would you speak on succulent? And I forgot the other term, but you will remember one question I asked, or one question is asked. Succumbus.
Succubus.
Succubus. Oh,
succubus.
Yeah.
The succubus. The succubus is a spirit that normally is in a very sexually liberated woman, which she will sleep with a man, and every time you fap, energy is sucked by her to give her life. To the point where if you are a man mission with a purpose, and you run up with a woman that is she will find ways to pull your purpose out of you so that you become lethargic, lazy, unmotivated, but she's using sex to do it. I mean, it doesn't have to be laying up with her. She can give you some education, and once you fap, that's it. She got what you want because she's giving her life by killing you. Because every time you fap, your body takes a lot of energy to create our essence. And once you give it up, your body has to build it back up again. So the more you're constantly fapping, your body is slowly dying. So you have to be very mindful of the type of women that you may approach or who approaches you, because she could be seeing greatness in you, and maybe it's a job that was sent by a demonic spirit to stop you from your journey.
You see me, guys? Keep talking, bro. Yeah. You got me.
So you have to be mindful of women, not in the sense that you can't trust them, but remember, you're the key. She's the lock.
We're going deep. This one is big for me. It's big for me because I have experiences. Let me just give you one or two stories. I dated a woman. Now that I'm about to think about it, it's feeling alive. I dated a woman that every time after each sexual session, I had a nightmare. And especially if she and I spent the night together, I had a nightmare.
And was she happy and energetic?
You mean after the session or all together? I mean,
After the session.
Yes, all together. She always was happier. The way the relationship was, when she was happy, I couldn't help but not be happy. Like when I was happy, she couldn't be happy. It seems like we either, I don't know, were we sucking the life out of each other, or was there a power struggle? But one thing that I know, many times I had sex with her, I would have a nightmare about her and her having sex with me and other guys. Like it was always me and one more guy or two other guys in the same house, and we're all banging her. I would have those dreams often, and I dated her for 5 years. Of course, I was still fapping myself. I was still in that vice, but the dreams, I didn't ignore them. I stayed in the relationship because I was weak to it. But it always intrigued me that was my experience. It felt like there was an invisible presence with her. There was something that did not want her to have sex. In fact, she and I had a few conversations about that. And one time she told me that her angels asked her to tattoo a ring over on her ring finger. Like I said, no, you're not gonna marry those spirits. You're gonna marry me. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, I love you. And then she remained quiet. I always felt like she was struggling with something. She was struggling with some kind of spirit, or she knew there was something. And I was not the only man who had that with her. Every other man who came before me, must I say that she destroyed them. Not that she consciously destroyed them, but she took them off the path of the good life. And even if she wasn't with them no more, they were still reaching out for her. It's almost like they were dead. When she leaves, they were dead. Right. I'm probably the only guy who left and who has more life now than when I was with her. What do you think about that?
There was something about you that you may have held on to 10%. And you had that 10% was enough to get you out, to get you back started. Because like you said about the other men, they pretty much died because they became addicted to her, which was her goal. You know, you have a lot of sexual vampires, which are, you could consider them succubus, where they will just keep sucking until they get what they want, because maybe they consciously or unconsciously want to drain you for their own energy?
Man, gotta be honest with you, bro. I used to feel like that she knew what she was with me for, and my energy was it. If sometimes she would spend 1 week without seeing me, and it would be like, oh, I'm busy at work, blah, blah, blah. But then when she was low on energy and she was low on vibration, she would seek me. I mean, she got to come and spend time with me. She got to seek me out, and after we spend time, I'm always the one with the lower energy, and she leaves with the highest vibrations, and it would, she would be happy. And I was puzzled by this thing, but I was puzzled by it. I was like, I'm dying here. Like, I'm literally dying. I'm sure. Now, I don't think I have a high level of interest into researching to understand exactly what happened, or even what that is. But if I find somebody like you who can speak on it, I'll let them educate me more and speak on it. But there's definitely something to consider when it comes to the kind of woman that you sleep with and have sex with and do stuff like that with. So Rock started this whole thing. So thank you, Rock, for that. I think we have Boy Genius says something. Let's put it on the screen. Facts. It seems like the more you're aware of something and you still do it, it makes you feel 20 times worse. So that was earlier about
Correct.
that gentleman. Yeah. Interesting. I think we're getting deep. So Boy Genius says this convo is gold. Absolutely, because men don't get to hear this a lot. What my vision for this new studio and for this setup is, for this live, is to always have a man of knowledge, or a man, whatever the experience, whatever the background, to come up on here and share experience with you guys and with me, as opposed to the regular NoFap Semen channel where it's the same guy speaking all the time, and it's really just a rehashing of old ideas, and it's always an experience from first person point of view. We're like me, just me, and where now it's a second person point of view, and that helps the conversation go further, and it helps the guys on the other end to feel more connected and more relatable.
Can I explain how I got on my journey?
Yes.
Well, I started mine on July 3rd. And of course, during this lockdown, the YouTube algorithm brought up semen retention. Mm-hmm. And this was back maybe in June. But it interests me because I've been trying to find a way to level up in my life, for whatever reason, but to level up in general. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't addicted to porn, but I will FAP because I want to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So I will FAP to sleep. And I would use my my mental porn bank to do it because some of the porn was getting to be boring.
Right.
Because I knew it wasn't good. Now, the last day I FAP was July 2nd, and I felt guilty for doing it. Like, I got tired. I was like, this is a bunch of BS. I said, I'm better than this. So that was my breaking point. Because I had such an awareness about it, watching different videos on the benefits, because I want to level up, not for a moment, but for life. Because my leveling up is going to benefit more than just me.
Right. Obviously, as we are seeing here, you're here tonight, right?
Right.
So leveling up for yourself also has helped is helping other men to level up, just like me with this work right now.
So once I got started, the typical urges would show itself, but like I said, it's a choice. It's like, I know it's there. I know you're there. I acknowledge you, but I'm stronger than this. So from that point, it's all about choices. It's all about, you could choose to watch porn if you want to, but I don't want to. Because remember, your eyes is still the gateway. So your eyes are just as bad if you watch Instagram videos or even some YouTube videos because of the content. And even now, even some of the content I used to watch, I can't watch it no more because it's about the same subject. You know, and it's boring to me. You know, their enticement is because they have beautiful women in part of their sketches, even though it's comedic, but it's sexual in nature, as if that's all that matters right now. And there's so much more to life than having sex.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, it's a feeling, but I'd rather have it with a woman,
right,
than to be by myself.
Right.
Because if I'm going to FAP, if I'm going to do the big O, it's going to be with a woman. You know, because even in the Bible, God killed a man because he spilled a seed on the ground. God would rather have have your seed in a woman than on the ground.
Right. A point on that, I always tell my guys, if you must relapse, let it be with a woman. Well, you know,
Facts.
let it be inside of a woman, because
Facts.
that's what it was meant for.
Facts.
And of course, even there, you have to evaluate, assess whether it's weakness or whether it's really you're trying to feel good in that moment. But instead of it being with porn, let it be with a woman.
I agree with that,
because that's the natural thing to do.
It's natural, and like I said, it also depends on the woman you with too, because you want to be careful, because the consequence of sex is a child.
A child, right?
Especially if you don't use protection, and especially if she says, you know, she like sushi, then most guys not going to say no. They're not going to say no to sushi if they could go, you know, if it could go that route. But the consequence is a child.
One of them.
Amongst other things.
Amongst other things. Worse things.
Right.
Yeah, and having a child with a woman that you didn't intend, man.
Right.
That could be the end of your life. Not that you're gonna die, but that child support thing and
because this is my attitude. My seed is just as important as the pot that it goes into.
Dang, that's deep. Here was a question. See if can you answer that question? Does semen retention intimidate other guys? What do you think?
It shouldn't, but depends on the man too. Because remember, your life journey is not about what you do to see how it affects other people. You're still being you because of who you are. If it intimidates other men, don't seek to know if it does or not. I mean, that's the ego talking. Because guess what? Even if you try to see if it intimidates a man, he's going to have that fight or flight just to prove a point. So be your own man without worrying about whether a man is intimidated by it. Your energy is going to give you respect from the man, because you can look a man in the eye. You can keep your head up as you speak to a man or any other individual.
Right.
Because your energy is they're going to feel your energy before they really see you. So even if he's quote unquote intimidated, he will respect you, because it's also how you conduct yourself.
Right.
You know, a real G move in silence. A real G doesn't make noise. They just do what they do, come and go. They don't make a show of it to prove a point.
Right.
You know, with any, like how it goes, how it's said in the Spider-Man movie, with great powers come great responsibility. So, because other people are watching too. And you don't know who's watching. So you trying to step up to an individual to see you intimidated. They may try to do something because they're fearful.
Right, right.
So you don't make waves. You don't make waves in life.
So what can I say? I will side with you that don't pay too much attention to other men, but perhaps maybe you're not asking because you're paying attention. You probably just want to know. You're probably looking for a confirmation. Like, do other guys feel some type of way that I am on semen retention? The answer is 80% yes, because it's about the hardest journey to undertake. And it also sets you apart, and men can look at you and say, well, you just have a big ego. You're just trying to set yourself apart in as far as men are concerned.
May I add on to that, please?
Yeah.
Basically, they want to know what you are doing so that they can be able to do it too. So that's when they say, when people give you an insult, it's a backhanded compliment because they want to be like you, but they don't know how to ask.
Right.
So instead of praising it, they will try to devalue it.
Right.
To bring you down to their level.
Right. Yeah, just like everything else, people will downplay it. Women will downplay it too, of course, because they want that semen from you. But yes, I can see how a man would be intimidated by especially if you've been doing semen retention for a while. I mean, you have that presence, you have the magnetism, you have the power of choice, you have the power of decision, you have that self-esteem, you have that self-image.
Got to have the discipline. It's a discipline.
Right. So if you have all that, I could see how a man would be intimidated by that. Question: the more your ego looks for it, the more it will run from you. So, Wave TV. Let me put that on the screen so you can see it. How do you pronounce this word again?
Well, I can't see. I don't have my glasses.
No. The spirit we talked about earlier.
The succubus.
Succubus. Man, that's a special pronunciation. I guess I have to learn. The succubus is a demonic spirit behind a woman's promiscuity. Would it be right to say there is an entity behind porn addiction as well, brothers? And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Because it's taking you away from what you could be doing for yourself to better your family, your community, everything around you. And it's a spirit of, it's just making you less human. And it's causing you to die. Because once you FAP, you lose a bit of yourself, literally.
Man, I can pull so many of my videos where I said that, bro. I said anything you can lose in this life, you can gain back. But when you release your semen, you lose yourself. A part of yourself is gone.
Right, because scientifically, there's so many nutrients, proteins, minerals, and remember, it takes a lot of blood to get it, to create it. Because to create a new batch of seeds, about 72 days.
Yes, sir. And I've heard between that up to 100. Like, to be safe, just say 100 days.
Right.
To create a new batch of semen. And I heard it takes one drop of semen contains about 40 drops of blood or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But really, a little bit of semen is worth so much more everything else. So it's like it's a
because there are some studies, women have used semen on their skin.
In some cultures, yes, it's well known that. We have women on right here on YouTube talking about that. Yeah, we have women on YouTube talking about because they're from that culture. They believe in it. They put it on their face, on their skin. Well, let me tell you my experience. Oh, y'all. I mean, y'all are bringing topics that are gonna make me relay my experience with that same woman. That same woman I talked about. When she and I were very sexual, she glowed up. Her skin lit up. She looked round, well rounded, like her body, just like it does for us when we hold the semen, right? You look at her, it's like, oh my God, there's something about you. You're glowing up. You have life in you. But she's not doing anything personal in her life. Her life is the same as far as her activities are concerned. The only difference is the frequency of our sexual activities. And of course, I would give her the semen. And we eventually moved in together. Oh, man, homegirl became so beautiful. Her hair became so luscious. I mean, but I tried to explain to her that, this is because of me. Of course, she was too foolish. That's the right word to understand that. And when we did break up, when I left the house, I did meet up with her twice. I'm going to say it. She looked like shit. She looked like shit. Her hair was not luscious anymore. The glow disappeared. And I, on the other hand, was looking very good.
Because one, if you are a good person, good diet, good vibes, good vibration, it will show in the woman that you are in bed with.
Yeah.
Now, because some who deal with men on a lower level, you see the effects of her being with him.
Yes, the opposite.
Correct.
Yes.
So when you left her, like I said, you had 10% in the tank.
For me, in my tank.
In your tank. After she has taken out 90. So she left with 90.
Oh, I forgot. You're a statistician. What?
Statistician.
Statistician. Yes, I forgot.
So because at least you had 10%, that 10% saved you from having to go through maybe 20 years to recover, because it's not just a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing, it's a mental thing. So when you saw her now, she's more pissed off because guess what? She was feeding on some bad gas. She fed on some bad gas. You was able to restock. You went from 88 to 91.
Yeah, I'm talking about octane.
Octane, yeah.
Right.
You went from 89 to 91. And guess what? You could look at her, shake your head, and guess what? You just keep on moving.
Dang, bro. The difference was day and night. The way that woman looked when we moved in together and were having sex all the time. I knew it. And that's actually that's the most recent experience. In my early 20s, I did live with a woman for a couple of years, and the same thing happened. But of course, I was young, very young. I didn't have any understanding. But the same thing happened with that woman. So yes, there are cultures where the women use the semen on her skin, on her face, and there are cultures that those women actually drink the semen. It's not, it's a serious thing. Like that the man feeds her, and she knows. And we have women right here on YouTube talking about that.
Yeah,
it's a practice.
There was a certain podcast that had a woman that talked about how she serviced NBA basketball players back to back. And she gave them all education, every last one, and they gave her a deposit. And she blew up from it because of whatever energy she may have received from them, or the notoriety for being able to talk about it very freely. She won.
Yeah. You see, even from your attention, just giving a woman your attention, spending time talking to her on the phone, texting, taking her out. We're not saying not to do that, but when you start knowing yourself and what you represent in this universe, you give a lot out.
And I have to give a quote from a great comedian, Patrice O'Neal. Don't be a time hoe. Meaning, don't give her your time because she wants it. Because what she wants, she's going to try to get it from you any which way. So say no, because you're not getting anything back.
Yeah.
From giving your attention to her, because remember, attention is the new currency right now.
Right.
So it's like, if likes were life, there'll be a lot of dead people. That's why they show negativity on social media to get the likes up. Nothing positive or anything that's inspiring is of value. That's why there are a lot of semen retention channels, but because it's actually building is the reason why it may not be as popular. Or if you say a certain word, it gets possibly demonetized, flagged, or whatever the case may be, because we're talking real. Now, I'm talking around I'm using different words to say what I really want to say, because I'm aware of the potential flagging of a video.
Yeah.
So I'm being very, I'm using a lot of wordplay to say what I want to say. So anything that builds is not going to be something that's going to be popular. Very few men can go on this path. But if you go on this path, you're not alone in this path.
Right.
You know, like I said, there was another cat at the gym that know about semen retention, and he was going back and forth before he made his decision. But when you make a decision, when you make that conscious, calculated choice, once you go on that journey, you're in it, and you're in it to win it at all costs. That's why, for me, I simplified my life. I have certain things are more valuable to me. You know, like I said, my seed is just as important, or if anything, because I'm a king.
Right.
And do you think I'm going to put my seed into anybody ratchet?
You see that guy who say, "I'm a king."
You're going to put something that's of limitless value into something ratchet? There's something that's going to not bring me peace? Because right now, being on semen retention is about peace. That includes people, especially women. Because I can do better by myself. You know the old saying, I could do bad by myself. For me, I can do better by myself. The question to her is, how can we better each other? And if I take bedroom activities off the table, what you bring to the table?
Yeah, let's leave that, because we want this video to remain up. Yeah. There's a question for you.
It wasn't really a challenge. It was one of those things where it was like, I got tired of the quick jackpot with nothing. I mean, I had a girlfriend back in until late February, and it happened right before we got into this quarantine. And yeah, I may have fapped back and forth, not like consistently or every day, but I just got tired. I know it was wrong. I know that I should be doing this with a woman, not with myself, because there's no pleasure out of it. Because it's like, really, do you really want to be holding that bottle? You know what I'm saying? Because you know it's more fun with a woman.
Right.
So it's not a challenge. I never looked upon it as a challenge. I looked upon it as a way of discipline.
Right.
A way of bettering myself by denying myself. You know, they say you have to die to self to level up, which is you gotta kind of be selfish, but not selfish at the same time.
Right.
Because at this point of life, there's a lot of things more important than a quickie with yourself. But like I said, it's better with a woman 100% of the time. So who would want to? I'd rather wait. I would rather wait, because when you store up your testosterone, you're on a mission. Women are going to be attracted to it. Women are going to see you differently. You may not have to say anything, but they can feel the energy. Now, if you choose to go out there, remember, they say that they're saying you're the prize, and that is true. But guess what? You're still in control of you. Mm-hmm. And remember, once you get that woman, you cannot out please her, because hers is endless. Because since we have a stop point, mm-hmm. your goal is to continuously please her until she can't take it no more, while you still hold.
Right. And
you choose to hold. If you choose to release with her because you choose to, not because she's begging you. She's begging you because she wants that energy that you've been storing up.
Wow. And also, I always caution guys to please, let's drop the word challenge when it comes to this journey. Because the challenge is not the lifestyle. You can't spend the rest of your life doing a challenge. It's impossible. By the very nature of a challenge, if something is challenging to the degree that it motivates all your resources to be used at a peak maximum exertion, where you can't sustain it. So, nope, not a challenge. Perhaps what motivated you to start this journey is a better perspective than to take the challenge. Because when you take a challenge, as a matter of course, you're gonna drop the challenge soon, because you took it and you're gonna get off of it soon. So a change of perspective actually might make the difference in our own success on this journey too.
Right. And like, it's the main factor for me was I wanted to level up. And like I said, the YouTube algorithm brought that into my attention, and how this has helped level up.
Right.
And it's about leveling up. So you got to hold yourself in order to receive.
Yeah. Here is a comment. Proverbs tell us not to give our strength to those who destroy kings.
Yes.
Are you familiar with this scripture?
Yes.
Those who destroy kings, meaning women, right?
Because let's take a story, for example. Let's look at Samson and Delilah. Mm-hmm. Samson had hair, and that was the key to his power, because Samson was a Nazarite. And Delilah he married a woman he should have married in the first place, number one. But he loved women. He's a guy. But they wanted him pretty much out the picture. So Delilah was motivated by the men in her community to figure out, how do we stop Samson? So for 7 days, she came to him and kept asking, what's the power to your hair? And he would lie to her. The 7th day, he told the truth. So she betted him, more than likely. And as he was sleeping, she chopped off the locks. And then she yelled out to the boys, yo, come through. And they got him, and they tied him up again. And arrogantly, he forgot his hair was cut. And this time around, the ropes didn't break. Once they realized that, they gouged his eyes out, and they had him for display in the Parthenon, or whatever big building with pillars. He called to God. He said, God, forgive me. Please give me strength one last time. And his arms were tied to chains that were around 2 pillars. And and God imbued him with ultimate strength for the last time, and his one action took out 1,000 people. But remember, he pillow talked. So you could use what, if people feel like the Bible is allegory or truthful,
Right.
you can use a lot of the stories
To teach truth.
and you can use urban talk to tell this, to give those parables some validity.
Right. Agree.
Because even in the story of Adam and Eve ate the apple first. We all know that. But God told both of them, don't eat the apple. Adam still he chose to eat the apple. He could have said no. Even though she was begging him to do it, he should have said no. So it's still a choice.
That's why if according to the manosphere, give me a second. Adam was the real simp. Adam is the simp prototype, and Jesus was the alpha prototype.
Well, actually, I wouldn't say Jesus was an alpha. I would say he was a sigma.
Well, there we go. That word came up in our life, in our first life.
He's more of a sigma than an alpha. More so.
Chew that.
Because he still did his own thing. Because guess what? Even though he was a leader amongst the group, he was still able to be by himself. And he dealt with more battles by himself than he did with his own crew.
Right.
Because even his own crew sold him out.
Yeah, guys, drop a few likes. We've got 18 guys in the house. Appreciate you being here, man. The conversation is getting really deep. I'm looking forward to having another session with you. Absolutely. I think we're just scratching the surface of these topics. Yes, the Sigma came up in my first live. And so apparently, which I had not researched myself, right? So apparently the Sigma is a few steps above the alpha because he has stepped into his purpose, but at the same time shunning the spotlight and recognition.
Well, let's go back to the basic instructions before leaving Earth. The Bible. You could be in the world, but not of it.
Yes. So that's the Sigma. And the alpha
is the leader of the betas.
I like that. Yeah. And the Sigma has the grand vision, is touching the people's lives, is connected to the universe, is following the purpose, and yet in the world, but not of the world.
And he could still be a leader, because if you are a leader, your goal is to create more leaders like yourself. If you are a prototype that is useful, that is productive. So you're creating more Sigmas in the process. So you could be a leader of the Sigmas, but there's no rank. It's just that you may have the prototype that you want to emulate. Like everybody wants to be like I grew up watching Michael Jordan, even though I didn't like him because I'm a Knicks fan back in the days, but we all wanted to be like Mike because he was the prototype. Everybody's prototype nowadays is Kobe. Everybody wants to be like Kobe, but Kobe had a Sigma to draw from, which was Michael Jordan.
Dang. And Kobe actually became a Sigma himself, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because even when Anthony Davis hit that shot against Denver Sunday and yelled at Kobe, we all did that. We all would do like a turnaround fadeaway back in the days and say, Jordan. We never said anybody else. We all said Jordan. Right. Everybody now saying Kobe because that's the prototype that we're trying to emulate, because we see a potential in us in somebody else that's doing it. And with semen retention, it gives you that clarity that you don't have to be, your journey is your journey. Whatever you want out of it is what you want out of it. Now, you don't have to be a Jones unless that's your last name.
Right.
But whatever path you're on, whatever life you want, can't nobody tell you you're wrong. Only person that can tell you that you're wrong and you believe it is you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's giving me clarity. It's giving me more acceptance of myself, good, bad, or indifferent. It's like I may smile, but most of the time I'm stoic.
Yes.
Because I would say that I'm always mad or angry. Mm-hmm. It's like the Hulk.
Right.
The Hulk was out of control because he was easily quick to stir. He was quick to being irate, to be mad, to transform. Like in the Avengers, he was quick when somebody tried to step to him or try to slick talk him. You saw the little green come out that quick. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But at the end, his epiphany was, instead of trying to fight being mad, accept it.
Accept it. Integration, the shadow integration.
Exactly. So that you have control over when you want to exert the extra energy because of your anger, as opposed to trying to fight something that you already are.
You are. And in Jungian psychology, that's shadow integration. Until you integrate that powerful subconscious monster in you, it'll forever sabotage your life. Go ahead.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Because there's been a time where I have led. Me being a nice guy is not a front. That's me. That's my foundation. Mm-hmm. I was always worried about being the debaucherous side, the very overt, not caring about somebody's feeling based on what I say, the Sith Lord or the dark side, if you are a Star Wars reference. You know, there's nothing wrong with being quote unquote bad. It's just like sometimes you got to be bad to protect yourself.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson, we thank God for him, God being the providence of the universe, for this day and age. He says, all good men are monsters or who have learned to control themselves. He says, I don't know any good men who are not monsters on the inside. And you know they are good because they have chosen to restrain that part, at least cultivate that part and integrate that part. Of course, right. JP teaches a great deal of Jungian psychology. And he says you can't be good without knowing that side and integrating that side into yourself and thus become a wholesome person.
Because sometimes with me, I could give a look.
And we know what that means.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the look is more intimidating by the word than the words you may speak.
Right. The look says, huh. Oh, by the way, last night I had a conversation with a few guys. We're late this morning, and it's a few guys that usually I stop by or they stop by me and then we talk. They love the wisdom. They're young. And I said, a woman can feel your energy, and your problem is you don't know this and it's not part of your mental construct. So when you're interacting with a woman, you don't remember that she can feel your energy subconsciously, and you're busy consciously trying to exert a self that she's not receiving from you, right? So a woman knows who to mess with and who not to mess with.
Right, because I've had my play mom and play aunt tell me, Harvey, you have quiet power.
I like that.
They know people get out your way. And people don't mess with you because it's like they know the monster is there. But they don't want to see the monster because I don't even know what the monster,
the full extent of that monster. Right.
I remember the monster as a child one time. Well, one as a child, one as a 22-year-old. The first time my brother was messing with me and I went to kill him. I started choking the crap out of him. My parents was like, what's wrong? I told him he was messing with me. And then my dad was like, what would have happened if he took out an eye? He had another one.
Yeah.
And then another situation where me and my father almost got a fight in the hospital because family business was brought up because my mom was in between us. And I didn't want family business to be brought up because it wasn't about he and I, it was about her getting better. She brought it out. He didn't want to take responsibility. And I just said, the responsibility is not going to be all on me. He got pissed off, and my mother didn't try to restrain me. She tried to restrain him because she saw the look on my face.
And she's your mother. She knows you better than your dad.
Right. She knew this was going to be it for him if he didn't stop. Because I just wanted one opportunity, one touch, one act of potential harm.
Right. That would set the monster.
The monster would have came out, even though I already know that going against your parents or fighting your parents is a curse. But I was at that point.
Yeah.
You know, so now as a 42-year-old and on this journey, it's never too late to better yourself and denying pleasure to yourself because you have a purpose. Far more greater satisfaction, because even if you youngins we're in an era of instant gratification. I grew up during the oven time frame where you appreciate the stuff after it took time to prepare and put in the oven, as opposed to the microwave era where it may be pre-prepped, it's ready, but guess what? Because only thing that heats up is the water molecules in the food. It dries out if you don't eat it fast enough.
Yeah.
So delayed gratification is helpful. And then number two, if you fap a lot, guess what? You're going to grow old in the face.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't look 42, but I'm 42.
I look younger than a few years back.
Right.
Than last year. Yeah.
Right. So fapping has its physical benefits, but it gives you discipline. This is a lifestyle and not a challenge. Because a challenge has a start point and an end point. But when you're on the journey never stops until you decide to stop.
Man, this is beautiful conversation. I myself am having a good time. I myself am enjoying all these the different tangents that the conversation is. We talked about a lot of stuff that normally don't get to be talked about by several individuals. Usually they're talked by the one person teaching and giving the information out.
Nobody wants to go. It's okay to go beyond what you know, because you might actually know something more so than you think. It's just that it's like a muscle.
Right.
If you're doing the same exercise with the same weight, you're not going to get your muscle. You will use less muscle units to do the same effort. So you got to get uncomfortable. You have to be in conversations where it's going to challenge you to be better. That steel sharpens steel.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. We have a question from Quizzy. Why would somebody avoid walking past you when they know that's the only way they have to go?
It's not about avoiding anybody. It's more, it depends on, even I will move out the way just to let somebody go by, because it's not an ego thing. You know, I won't purposely prevent somebody from going past me, because it's like, this semen retention is not an ego. It's not an ego thing. It's not a, I know something you don't know type deal.
Right.
it's part of it is going to work on your ego because it's not about you.
Right. And that's what we're here. It's to share that knowledge, because like I said, was it Sunday on my live? I said that an addiction is not something to be ashamed of in terms of, I was talking about addiction model, which I have to do a video on, or at least a live on, or maybe a live on. There are many addiction models, but most of them don't serve the person seeking recovery. Only one of them, that is the neurobiological model. Understand that addiction is in the brain. It's because the brain is hijacked, and then the neuroreceptors are opened wide for a load of dopamine to be dumped in, and that's what keeps you hungry and going for it. So there's no moral attachment to that. There's no religious attachment to it, and so there's no need to feel. Then if you're on semen retention, there's no need to boost yourself up. Well, because it's a struggle for everybody. It has to do more with our brain and our biology than it has to do with your willpower and who you are,
right?
Per se. So,
but you still operate on a choice as well, and you may have different connections, but if you exercise it's about exercising the choice. The exercising the choice is going to eventually start to break that connection and create new ones. It's just like when you want to grow muscle, you have to break the muscle to allow new muscle cells to develop. So you got to become uncomfortable, but you have to be aware of it.
Right.
You have to, instead of walking away from it, push into it. And it's going to feel uncomfortable because you want to, it's like having morning wood. You want to do something, but it's like, okay, this too shall pass. You know what I'm saying? This too shall pass. Yeah. It's just a moment. And remember, if you have morning wood, you're alive. That means that you got blood flowing.
Yes.
Your health is okay.
Yes.
Because some people can't get it down, can't get more than wood.
Right. And that's true. Here's a question. How can one begin to understand their journey of being in this realm? I will take realm meaning in this earthly realm, like the world, or the semen retention realm. I will take it for the former. I can answer that question because I've spent a lot of years educating myself on life purpose, life's calling, and it's partly part of what I do. It's partly part of my life purpose to understand and guide individuals towards understanding and eventually operating in their life's calling. The first thing to begin to understand is that you have some innate abilities that come to you easily and effortlessly, and that you can perform. And when you do perform them, the results are astronomical. The benefits are great to yourself and to other people. That's part A of the understanding, right? The part B of the understanding is that we are all unique and special in that sense. We are all unique and special in that sense. Yeah, we all have the same organs biologically, the same 24 hours. We're not unique and special in that sense, but we are unique and special, not bigger and better. Unique, that means one of the type, and special, meaning that we each have our own unique sets of abilities, right? And to the degree that you accept that, you're going to have to do some work around self-esteem. You're going to have to do some work around self-love, because one of our biggest struggles is accepting that we are somebody and that we can give value to people. Because like, or me too, like, who am I to teach men? Who am I to teach people? Who am I to lead the world? Who am I to share or to give to people? So there needs to be some work around self-esteem, self-acceptance, but most particularly in the area of, it's not you, it's just given to you. You've been born in this realm, and a set of abilities have been given to you that if you pay attention to them, you can perfect them. And then when you operate in them, you benefit greatly, and the world around you benefits, and they get to be, it gets to be a better world and a better place. That's a good start.
As men, our purpose is to be providers, is to be producers. If there's something that you can do with little to no effort, and you're willing to do it for free, that is a passion that could put you on a purpose that can create the life that you want to have. The goal is not to have it corrupted along the way. That means ego. That means it's like somebody telling you, you know what, you're the smartest person that I know. That still bothers me because it becomes a burden. Because now you have to still live up to that title that people have given upon you, even though what you do is easy. Even though sometimes you can solve something like that and people are like, oh my gosh, you can monetize that. And most of the time I don't want to monetize. It's this is my pleasure. It's my purpose. And through life, stages of life, your purpose will change.
Right.
Your still purpose is to be able to help other people. It may be channeled through different means because you may be more equipped to do it on a grander scale. You may be able more equipped because you are in the correct environment that where it can be more serviceable to more people.
Right.
You know, and if anything, remember, if you live for yourself, you're not living. You live because you live for other people. Because remember, in order for you to exist after you die is to procreate, is to be able to pass your seed to a woman. Instinctually, without our higher level of thinking, we're here to grow and we're here to procreate. Yes.
At the very primal animalistic settings, that's what we do. Yeah. Another thing I would add to that is even the journey to the discovery and understanding of one's purpose is actually a journey of unfoldment in itself. Because until you can break out of yourself, it's hard for you to even accept your calling. And even if you accept it, then you got to go up to that place of operating in it. And even if you operate in it, you have to get to that place where if monetization is the next step to get into it. For example, there are pastors in the church, there are leaders of communities who don't want money, who don't want to accept the pay. Now, and it's solely on the basis of, oh no, I'm just helping, I'm just here to help, God put me here to help, I just have a few skills to help, but I don't want no money. But of course they're struggling. They're working in a third shift at night and come home, sleep, and then go and help out in the community. And of course the problem there is they think if they accept monetary gifts or a pay, then their work is not as effective and not as purposeful. So it's a psychological bottleneck that they need to get past.
Right. And I have an answer for that. I still go through it even now. I've helped out plenty of people in certain things, and I don't want money. They ask me how much you want. And I'm like, I'm just helping you out. But I also remember it's currency.
Right.
Your effort is going to come back to you current in terms of currency or the pay.
Right. Whatever people wants to bestow on you.
So whatever energy you gave is going to be received to you through the cash that you're going to, whatever services you provided, that energy is going to come back to you in the pay that they're going to give you. And plus you are valuable. So why not accept the value? You're still going to do it. Even if you are getting paid to do it, you're still going to give you your best because that's who you are. That's still your ethics.
Right.
The money shouldn't change your ethics.
And the funny thing is we actually do it because everything we purchase in the world is an act of honoring somebody who stepped into their purpose. Correct. When you go to a concert, I mean, you're paying to see a guy who has spent years perfecting his craft. You go to a boxing match, a basketball match, the same thing.
Right.
You actually are paying these guys for stepping up to the plate and of developing themselves. And we do it even when we purchase a product, these microphones or these equipments. It's the same thing. Somebody stepped up and get something done. And then now we rewarding them, so to speak. Here is a question. While on semen retention, are affirmations and visualization more effective? Yes. And so why? I'll answer to that. The answer is visualization requires brain power. It requires focus. It requires for your cells to be in congruence with each other. It requires for your spinal cord and your brain to be in conjunction, right? Like they're fully operational. And while you're holding semen, your body is renewed. Your brain, the receptors in your brain are they close back up where you don't need any more peak and valleys in your dopamine experience. You don't need to be very excited and then very sad, very excited and very sad. And because you can maintain that level, stoic type of mindset, when you sit down to meditate, then you can go deep with almost without a lot of effort. You can go to because your cells are not resisting you. Your cells are not reacting to you. Remember, you have muscle memory. When you're watching porn and you're depleting that energy, you're fidgety. Your body by itself is always seeking to do something. And in that sense, you have a more benefits to sit down, to meditate and visualize. And that's answer one. Answer two is that everything is energy. As you sit down to meditate, you're emanating strong, powerful energies that are radiating from your aura. And of course, semen raises the energy level in your physical bodies, which help greatly with your aura. So in your visualization, in your meditation, you're sending these powerful energies out that go and speak for you in the world and make people more favorable towards you. And when you step into the world physically, it is smiling at you and everybody is welcoming you. It's because you're holding that dynamo inside. You have that power inside, and it's affecting everything. And just keep in mind that everything is energy.
And also, you have to be careful with how you speak about yourself, because if you on semen retention, the retention is an energy. It's like a Midas touch. So you have to be careful what you say about you, because what you say about you, positive, negative,
you might create,
neutral,
yeah.
You will create, because anything you say about you, you're right. If you say I suck, you're right.
Right.
If you say I want to have a bad day, you're right. If you say I have a great day, I'm going to have a great day, you're right. If you say I'm going to get that chick, go for it. Go for it. You know, the only thing she can tell you is no.
Right.
But if you go after her, she might actually say yes, because nobody was going after her in the first place. But it's just with affirmation, you still have to be careful about how you speak of yourself. And that's the most important thing. Because you can have other people speak about you. And remember, the semen retention magnifies the meditation, magnifies the visualization,
right.
it magnifies the affirmations,
right?
Because now you have an attachment, because you've been disciplined, you've been holding, you've been you're revving up like like an electromagnet. You know, the stronger you are getting by holding on to this energy, the more you're going to attract.
Right.
So just be mindful of how you speak of yourself.
Yep. And the things you undertake, because yes, they will also on this journey, you manifest very, very easily. Whatever you said, you just think about having something and you spend a little bit of time. You don't even have to do any special visualization session for it, and it manifests. You get that phone call, you get that text, you run into a person, the conversation starts in the public places. I mean, an idea comes to mind. You manifest so quickly and so readily. You better be careful. I agree with you. You better be careful what you say about yourself, what you say about your environment, and what you imagine about your life too, because on semen retention, you are dealing with the universal power behind the universal mind. So
because you're being rewarded for not spilling.
Yeah, I think one of the things that the guys say is the gods rejoice with you when you give up porn and practice semen retention, and they come and dwell with you. Oh, this is powerful. Whether we want to say the gods are positive, pure energies or angels, whatever you want to attribute that to, but it is to, like you say, it's like having the Midas touch. A true power comes over you, and now I can see why some men might struggle with having high levels of semen and energy, because you become like endowed and empowered by God.
And the biggest thing is still, we have to check our ego, because as easily as it comes, it's harder to get. It's easy to lose, because that succubus, you could be feeling, you could be on 10 and got a little bit beside yourself, cocky, whatever terminology you want to use, and you meet that woman. And she's like, you know, she act like the guy's like, oh, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get him. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him the bus. Oh yeah, he got that energy I'm looking for.
Yes.
And she might be the baddest chick out there. I mean, the chick that you would never think would approach you. And you may be on your, that's right, shorty, come through. Yeah, she gonna come through. And she gonna get hers. Yeah. And when she get hers, she's gonna look at you and be like, "You simp, you simp, you was too easy. You just let me have it. I'm supposed to earn that, but apparently, you were who you really were because you wasn't there for honorable reasons. That's why it's like a challenge. You can't say a challenge. It's a lifestyle. If it's a lifestyle, it's not an honor. It's just who you are. Right. So that you won't worry about your ego having to interfere, getting a big ego off of, oh yeah, I'm powerful because I'm on semen retention. Just we all have to kind of take that ideology out of our minds, because pride becomes before a haughty fall.
Yeah, before fall. Interesting. Question, right? Is there a specific way to meditate or perform affirmations? Does one just sit and think of a better future? That's creative meditation. Yeah, there are different types of meditation. So if you just sit and think of a better future, that's creative meditation, and that's one type of it. I like to say that creative meditation must follow either transcendental or what I call a casual meditation. That is a meditation that seeks to centers you, connects you with the deepest part of yourself, and connects you with the universal presence. So yes, there is a part that's creative meditation, but then perhaps before meditation, you probably need to focus on a transcendental type of meditation. Yeah, you can just sit. When you start, you don't want to lay down. I do both, but I mostly lay down because I can lay down without falling asleep because I've been doing it for so long. But when you first start out, you want to sit down up straight to prevent you from falling asleep. And I like to say there is a rhythm. Listen carefully. I like to say there is a spiritual rhythm waiting for you out there. It's circling around. It's with you. It's around you. It's waiting for you to catch it. It's your own wave. It's your own energetic wave. It's like surfers waiting for that wave to ride it, right? If you would only begin to sit down quietly, don't look for results yet. Don't look for anything specific. Have no expectations. Just begin to sit down quietly. And that wave will show up. And one of these days you will catch it and you will begin to ride it. And it will teach you and it will take you where it needs to take you. You cannot really teach meditation. You can teach the entrance, the mechanics of getting for the person to put themselves at the place where meditation takes place. But you can't teach it because it happens in the person's consciousness. You can explain to them what you have experienced, what they can perhaps look forward to, but you can only teach the mechanics of getting them to the place to recognize the wave when the wave shows and for them to jump on it and ride it. And the more they ride it, the more you ride the wave, the more you become in tune, one day you will realize that you're at work and your mind is saying, I can't wait to get home to meditate. You're like, whoa, I am now actually looking forward to meditation. That's the best answer that I can give you. It's actually the more eclectic answer. It's not saying one type of meditation. It's not saying what one teacher is saying the truth of the universe. You sit down enough and long enough, like days, the compounding effect would be that wave will come, the gods will come to you, the universe will come and help you catch that wave, and you will fall into that that vortex that's for you, and it will carry you and it will teach you, and before you know it, you will be a powerful man. As far as meditation and transcendental and creative meditation is concerned.
I may not be familiar with those techniques of meditation, but I know for me, sometimes if I feel overwhelmed, and I would just go for a walk.
Mm-hmm. That's a meditative practice.
And just try not to do it with headphones. Try to leave your cell phone at home. If you can be detached for an hour.
Yeah.
And there are times where I was up 4 o'clock in the morning and I decided to take a walk and just be one with the environment and just see what's going on. And I just talk out loud.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. It's all meditative practice. The more contemplative practices that lead to meditation. Yeah. Yeah.
And it gave me a peace because it was something that I couldn't just talk to a person because it was deeper. It was more esoteric that it just couldn't be given to a person. It had to just be given into the ether, which sometimes could be outside.
Yes.
In the air.
Well said. Yes, I agree.
And you're exercising your mind and your body at the same time. And once you get it out, take a cold shower, lay down, and remember to let it go.
Yeah.
And just go on with your day.
And I would have to believe that the question is asked because I'm sure you have looked up meditation before and you were bombarded by an array of confusing and contradictory information on the topic because everybody is selling something. What did I just sell you? Nothing. Well, at least I sold you yourself. I sold you the power that's within you, that if you go and sit down, it will come to you. There's no need to want to write down exactly what you're going to need to do. That's what worked for that person. There is an energy that's looking for you to grab you. The universe is personal at some level.
Salvation is within, not without. Let me repeat that. Salvation is within,
Right.
not without.
Right.
The only person that can save you is you.
Right.
They say on a plane, when those masks
There
deploy,
there you go.
they say to put your mask on
Please.
first before
Yes.
you try to assist
Save somebody.
anybody else. Even in evolution,
Right.
self-preservation
Yes.
is the first law of nature.
Yes.
Now, these days at times, it's gotten a little bit selfish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get mine before you get yours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So even natural laws can be perverted. But salvation is within you.
Right.
Nobody else can save you better than you.
Yes.
They may have an idea how you should be saved,
Right.
but you still have to choose the route.
Right. And that's what's the difference between religion and spirituality or mysticism. Spirituality and mysticism make a U-turn. They're like, hey, Buster, you, come back around, and face yourself. Here you are. It's all inside. It's all within you. Well, religion says, wait a minute, come here. And then they point the finger and they say, you see that over there? Yeah, that's where we're going. That's who we're looking for. That's who we are seeking to be like. That's religion. Whereas spirituality and mysticism is saying, whoa, come, turn around. Look into that mirror. What do you see? Talk to that, face that, get in touch with that, love that, understand that, and then that will put you in touch with the universe. Know thyself, and thou shalt know the gods.
Because guess what? In the Old Testament, it says, don't you know that ye are gods? We come from the universe. We come from the earth. All the minerals that's in us is in the ground. Just like the earth is 70% water, we're 70% water.
Right.
We got gold, we got iron, we got copper, we got zinc, we got calcium, we got nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. The earth has the same thing too.
Yes. So look within. Go within. Take time to sit down. All we're doing is pointing you towards the entrance of the cave. And we tell you, inside there are lots of gems, lots of gold. But we just put you up front and you go in. Remember, the cave that you fear entering holds the treasure that you seek. Who said that?
That's like you entering the lair of the dragon, but you don't know that you're the dragon. Because what you see at the end will be the mirror.
Always mad. Well, you know better than that, bro. Always mad. This brother has been here from the beginning. Always mad. I was on Sunday night, and you were not on. Sunday, I celebrated 1 year. Oh, I think you were here, right? Anyway, that was my 1 year of anniversary on YouTube. He says, why didn't they teach us semen retention in school? Come on, man. Well, you already know. Well, you know better than that. Ain't nobody. But YouTube is taking videos down for talking about semen retention. Medical experts, whether when neuroscientists actually will not endorse it, but they will say like, yeah, we can see how that can benefit. Knowing the brain, we can see how that can benefit. Let alone teaching in school. Well, I mean. No, the school system is not made to teach men to find himself and to know himself and to become what he is to become. But, before semen retention, we're not even taught critical thinking. Well, at least at some level that can help us in life. We're taught critical thinking according to the field that we are studying. Like in my case, business or theology. In your case, statistics and education. So let alone that they would teach semen retention. And then the last part for me might be they didn't know. They don't know, bro.
Well, here's the funny thing about semen retention. It disrupts money. Why? Is because when you choose to no FAP, semen retention, the money that is lost by industries that depend on
you
the
chasing
weakness,
women,
the weakness of our lower self
Yes.
that we have to satisfy
Yes.
is disrupting the pornography industry.
Right.
Is disrupting the
beauty
stripper,
industry,
the stripping
the
industry,
stripping,
spending money on women who their
Right.
purpose is to get money out of you,
Right.
and it also disrupts the pharmacology industry,
Right.
because now if you choose to hold,
Right.
you heal yourself
You heal
from
yourself.
within, and that you won't need certain products to enhance, because guess what?
Right.
You're the enhancement.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. And you don't go to the doctor.
And you don't go to the
So
doctor.
you're good. And the doctor, man, is going to tell me nothing. So
Right. Because guess what? You don't need anything you won't suffer from ED,
right.
because it's going to make you want to exercise. Make sure you do a lot of squats because it pumps it down there. You won't spend money unnecessarily because you chose to lack discipline.
Right. Right. I mean, it's a lot of ways. And I think primarily too, it's not something that people like to talk about. I got to tell you for myself, when I tell people that I have a channel and I do this and I have a coaching business, and of course the next question is, what is that about? What do you do? And here I am trying to explain, well, in the world there are addictions. Well, people only know the most common ones: alcoholism, overeating, gambling, but there's this thing called porn that we all have watched. Usually the person goes like, oh, okay, that's what you do? That's what your channel is about? So there's a stigma that goes with talking about anything sexual. In fact, somebody said society is so hypocrite that it seems as though children come from the chimney. But children don't come from the chimney. They come from sex in the course, but no parent wants to talk about sex. Nobody wants to talk about sex. But then that's one thing that they secretly crave a lot of. They secretly are crazy about, but yet we don't want to talk about it.
Well, we all know that the thing that you restrict the most is the thing that will be the most curious.
Yes, it will overpower you. That's why they say good girls gone bad. Those religious girls go into pastors,
PKs and
PKs
and teachers' kids too are just as bad as the P kids.
Yes, I've seen the PKs. I can speak to that. And PKs guys stand for pastors' kids. I know that. I've been in the church. I've seen the pastor's daughter is gonna be the first to get pregnant. The pastor's son is gonna be the first to do drugs in the church, to go to jail. And I've seen it. I've been with PKs. Trust me. For some reason, PK is always attracted to me. I think there's a pastoral side to me, and there's a part to me that always PKs are attracted to me. And I know the stories. I have the 411 on what happens in the homes and how they live. They're usually the first one to get kicked out of the house for stuff that they do. So
that is hilarious.
Yeah. Man, that's a lot of good questions and comments. I've had women and old friends I haven't talked to in years call me out of the blue and want to catch up. Of course, they can feel your energy in the distance, bro. At a distance, they can feel your energy. People know who you are, subconsciously, albeit. And I've told my clients, and I always tell people, if you can tap in conscious reality of things and life, you will tap into a whole new sphere of life, a whole new stratum of life. Because now what you need to know will come to you. What you need to perceive will come to you. Things will be revealed to you. You will know that people 1,000 miles away can feel your energy. You don't need to be next door. You don't need to talk to him or her. You don't need, your business partners. You don't need. All you need to do is just in the deepest part of your thoughts, your sanctum, your internal sanctum, you just conceive the perfect situation and let that loose, and it goes out there and it create that reality, and it comes back to you.
Now, you have to also remember that people who come back out of the blue take them for face value because you don't know if they're a help or a hindrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can be serving one of either energy on the spectrum, or either side of the spectrum. That is true, because any new energy you have started automatically calls its polar opposite. I like to teach guys that as soon as you say, I'm going to the gym, you also activate the energy of not going to the gym. So I get a flat tire, might start feeling tired all of a sudden, might start feeling sleepy all of a sudden, might get a phone call, somebody wants to talk to you, they have an emergency, something might happen, might start raining even. Because as soon as you start one particular energy, you also activate its polar opposite. Now, this is esoteric, and this is deep stuff. This is hermetic principles, hermetic laws. But as soon as you start one energy that is on one end of the spectrum, so let's say I want to do semen retention, where you also activate resistance to semen retention, because that duality exists in the 3D world. Now, there comes a place where the master, the esoteric master, can elevate himself or herself, few women, but mostly himself, above that duality, above the pendulum, the swing of the pendulum. But it takes some time and takes some practice in the craft. But as soon as you say one thing, you also activate. So while you're on this journey, I think he's returning about 300 and some. This is almost a year in, this brother.
Oh,
he's almost a year
mad.
in. And because you're maintaining such a high energy level, you're attracting both good things and bad things. Bad things in the sense of the polar opposite of what you're doing. Good things because of the likeness of what you're doing. They come to embellish your experience, and the bad things, so we call them, come to detract you and take you off the good things that you're doing. So essentially, that's how we say you are responsible for the whole of your experience, because you're the one unconsciously and consciously and energetically create the whole of your experience.
And I can attest to that because I feel more, because I'm more aware of what's going on around me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel more, it tends to become heavy.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you have to solve problems for everybody.
Right.
And sometimes certain problems that might be presented to you, it's not for you to solve. Because no matter what happens, you still have your life to live. And from my history and different things I've researched, sometimes a no is a win-win. Because some people have to be responsible for their own actions, and you cannot be a life preserver for everybody.
For everybody, right. I agree.
Because it's like, I use this analogy. If somehow a boat, you and a friend your boat got capsized, and you somehow found a way to get to a buoy. You could swim, but they can't. In order for you guys to be saved, somebody has to swim to the shore and get help.
Right.
You cannot take that person with you on your back, because that person is panicking and they will take both of y'all down. So what you have to do is tell that person, you keep your behind and you hold on for life on that buoy as I swim to get help.
Yeah.
And then we can potentially both be rescued. But you still observing the first rule of nature, self-preservation.
Yep.
And sometimes that no may hurt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense where two people transition unnecessarily, where one could have helped out both parties.
Right. It serves the greater purpose in the end.
Right.
It's a lot of us guys. This is a great show. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of knowledge in the house. This is my purpose. This is my vision for this podcast, like, or this the live, is to bring men who are knowledgeable in whatever area of life, whatever area of their own expertise, and most particularly guys who have either who are practicing some form of sexual discipline, and they don't necessarily have to be completely off no fab or some number of days on semen retention. If they are practicing some sort of self-discipline, if they understand masculinity, if they understand masculine power, that's the guy I'm looking for to talk to, because he has something to share with us. He has something to help embellish our own experience in this life. So this is very engaging. I appreciate it very well. Guys, give us more likes and share this video. I see that Facebook accounts for 6.5% of the views on my video. So there's a lot of Facebook shares. So a lot of guys are sharing this video on Facebook. And I just discovered something yesterday. And talking about the power of semen retention, I Googled one of my videos, and it pulled up on some other platforms.
Get out of here.
Some other site, video hosting sites.
Okay.
And when I try to play it, it says that the owner of the video does not allow embedding. So I went straight to YouTube and allow embedding, and I went back to that site and it plays. I'm like, no, it needs to be played. Whoa, this video needs to be played. And I allowed embedding, and I went and allowed embedding to all my top videos right away. I mean, it was, some of them were already allowed, but for some reason that one was. And I'm like, what is that video doing all the way over there? And then there was in Arabic, those kind of language I couldn't understand, but my video was sitting right there. Somebody posted it there.
Nice.
So Facebook, which I just joined back again today, and it's big for me because I left Facebook a long time ago, but I'm seeking to create a Facebook group to take to have engagement going on with the guys on the channel. So Facebook accounts for that, and a lot of other phone sharing, like a lot of Metro sharing, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint sharing.
Okay.
So I appreciate that, guys. Give us some more likes and share the live. Yep, we have 14 guys in the house. It's great. If 14 guys plus the two of us, 16 guys are sitting here watching and talking men stuff, and we're not fapping, we're not chasing women. That's a win for the men's community. That's a win for the manosphere. So we are approaching closing time. It's been a minute since we've been talking. We haven't realized it, but we've been on here for a minute, and it's always like that. Time flies when you're busy doing something good. At least these 2.5 hours, I think. Yeah, no, actually 2 hours. We're not jerking off, watching porn. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the fact that we could speak about it, and not have it become the only topic, is winning in itself.
Yes.
So we have to be appreciative of the little skirmishes that we win, because once we depart from each other, we still have to keep that power until the next time we come together.
Here's a question. How long do you think it takes to heal from years of porn and masturbation? Well, healing is a lifetime process. There's so many things to heal. We're not healing just one thing. We are multi-layered. We're healing the mind, the emotions, the brain, character, and then mindsets. So there's a lot to heal. But I would say for myself, for me, when I really started feeling like a man, like, okay, you know what? Wow, I actually can do things in the world. I actually can go out there and face people and face myself and do things. Like when I really began to feel healed, like whole again, it was 2 years and some months in. 2 years and some months in on various types of semen retention experiences where there were times when I was on muck mode and soft mode and sex with a woman and no porn and no masturbation. It has taken that long for me to feel healed and whole. Like right now, I don't fear that something can take me off this path. I don't feel like that. Like there's not a fear behind in the back of my mind. And also I can start something and see it through and push through and see it through. So I think the healing is multi-layered, and we have to have a long range in mind, and we can only count one day at a time. And that's why, as much as I say, there comes a point you have to let the counting go. But if you think it serves you, we're better counting than not having anything to count.
And remember, with the counting, it could become an addiction.
In itself, right.
In itself. So remember, this is lifestyle. This is a style for life.
Mm-hmm.
So take it as it comes. There will always be some changes here and there, but the foundation of it is discipline. The foundation of it is waiting for a woman. If you're going to spill your seed, let it be with a woman that you want to be with. You don't give no randoms your energy. You give a woman energy that wants to give her energy to you.
Mm.
So that it an equal exchange.
Right. So as we want to close soon. Don't know yet. I hope you don't have to wake up very early. No.
No.
But let's talk game, because we've had a conversation and it seems like you got game, like game, like I know game, but perhaps we live in a life that ostensibly does not portray that we know game. But then once we start speaking, people are, oh snap, I think you're a player, game. But at this point on your journey, 90 days in, congrats. How is your relationship to the feminine? And I want to put it right. How is your relationship with the feminine?
Okay. I've always, because I love my mother, I've always had a respect. Yes. Do I locker room talk with guys about women? Yes. Do I is my carnal mind always first when I see a woman? Yes.
Yeah.
But we all know that the game is really, put it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get a woman's number to bed or whatever the case may be, it's like a job. You send out your resumes to different companies. Mm-hmm. Hopefully one of them bites. Or a couple.
Right.
So if they say, you know what? I'll give you the time. You do informal interviews, which will be the phone calls, things of that nature. And then you go out to eat, which is kind of seeing how you are in public, whatever the case may be. And during the relationship, during this courting or the part of trying to get this job with this company, if everything works out well, you close the deal, which would probably be get in the draws or GTD. You already presented yourself exactly what you're able to do. Your job is to be consistent. And I think because of social media, because of social interactions, the art of talking has been a lost form.
I have to agree.
Because, like I said, I'm from the old school. Old school, we had to holler at a chick.
Yeah.
Literally.
Face to face.
Face to face.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes you might be on display, yeah, with her girlfriends or whomever, and you better hope that you have enough charisma, enough of being learned, to be observant, because most women know whether they want to give it up within 5 minutes or 30 seconds, depending on who they are. But your goal is to give them enough for them to be inquisitive. You don't give them the whole information about you. And then number 2, you make the conversation about them. You make them feel like they're important, because they are, because guess what? You got to make them feel important before they think that you're important. And the only thing and if your goal is still get the draws, you still got to make them feel important. But the game is the art of conversation. The game is how to dialogue, not monologue. Because it's still a give and take, no matter what type of game it is.
Right.
Can you be a little bit mysterious? Of course. Women still like that social dynamic of a so-called bad guy, which is somebody who's mysterious and not known.
Not knowing, yep.
But you still have to show that you have a level about you that's more than just what you appear to be.
Right.
You have to flex on some of your intelligence. You have to flex on some of your comedic skills. You have to flex on your charisma. Even if you are amongst a bunch of women, if you could work the floor, meaning that you can hit each woman eye to eye, then you're doing a lot. You're saying a lot without not saying a lot. And then number 2, even if you kind of ignore her a little bit, that's going to make her more wanting, because she wants to be more inquisitive about you.
Right.
But the game is stop using the phone as the barrier, because no matter what happens with the phone, live is live.
Right. You got some props for that. Somebody's giving you some props.
Thank you,
MB. And there's no substitute for that. And especially those of us generation Y. I used to think we were generation Y, but I discovered recently we are generation X. But I mean, anyway, dude, there's nothing better than hollering at a chick in present, like face to face. I mean, that's what we knew. I mean,
right, because the difference between what's going on now versus what's going on back then is the expediency of everything.
Right.
Because you had to have more guts to holler at a chick.
Yes.
You had to have more guts to want to dance.
While you're on this, can you say something about rejection then? Because the risk there, in our age, when we're growing up, you and I, you're 42, I'm 40, you're about to turn 43, I'm about to turn 41. So we welcomed rejection. In fact, you can imagine if you only lived in a world where you had to talk to a chick face to face, how much rejection was present. And we still got girls. We still got laid. So it'll be interesting to hear your perspective on rejection, because the reason that some of the guys in this modern age use social media is as a buffer, as a cushion to absorb some of the rejection ahead of time. So speak to that.
It's just like in anything athletic, you risk losing to win, no matter what. So when you talk to a woman, you risk rejection. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay, because like I said, growing up, they call me nerd. They call me Black Doogie Howser, Steve Urkel. I've taken plenty of rejection. Men, you will always have more no's than yes in your life.
Always.
So be prepared. And that is why a lot of women can't take a no.
Right.
Because they're not used to being told no.
Or to be rejected.
Or to be rejected.
Right.
Because why? Because they grew up with the daddy's little girl. I could get anything because daddy give it to me.
Yes.
As a man, we take L's.
Yes.
But the L's are lessons.
Right.
Not losses.
Yes. You have to go fetch wood and fetch water.
Right.
Go chop wood and fetch water.
And that's why I feel that a lot of the newer generation don't understand taking a loss, because participation is winning. No, it's not. Because like I said, when you get rejected, that means you got to get your game up. That means you got to do something different. That means you have to
go back to the drawing board and better yourself.
Better yourself. Maybe you got to put that weight in the work. You got to put that work in the gym.
Say it.
You either got to change your style of clothing.
Say it.
You either got to change how you cut your hair.
Say it.
You may even have to change your environment.
Well, see, I'm gonna let you continue, but I like what you just said. And I tell my clients and guys that, for example, I recently took off my cross, my chain, which had a pendant. No problem. A cross pendant, and I had some rings that are esoteric, mystical rings, right? And most people, not to say that they're afraid, but there's a little apprehension when dealing with me. Now, it's not that I'm submitting to them or I'm living for them, but no, there is a certain presentation and there's a certain way of making yourself to gain that likability factor. Not that you need it, but to operate in this 3D, you have to listen to feedback from society. You have to listen to feedback out there and see how you're coming across so that you can make some adjustment. And the planner I look with one watch and no whatever else I used to have, the more neutral I am, and therefore the more I can get my purpose out there, the more acceptable that I can be.
Can I add on to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
But the biggest thing about game is accepting who you are. Because you could try to do all those things, but it's like if your mentality is still a sucker mode, no matter how much you change, no matter what you do, if you inside still have that lower value mentality, it will show.
Right.
Because what you are presented is not authentic.
Yes. Women can sense your energy subconsciously. I keep repeating that. I keep banging that in guys' heads. Focus on doing the work internally so that you can radiate that unconsciously and energetically where you ain't got to speak. You don't have to speak. You don't have to take action, where she can sense you and feel you and initiate. In fact, Joseph Campbell, the author of The Hero's Journey and so many other frameworks, thought frameworks, says that the woman is the initiator and the man is the receiver of the action. So she, for example, practically the way that plays out is the woman sees you before you see her, and she walks passes you in her little beautiful dress. She activated you. She initiated the chasing. You are the receiver of her action. But all that is happening subconsciously. That's the kicker.
And
you're unaware of it.
And here's the thing about a special woman. A woman, and shout out to my former love, she motivated me to get my tax credentials. That allowed me to work at TurboTax. She said, Harvey, I think you could do it. She actually was a catalyst and believed in me. That energy, that initiation activated me to go on this journey faster than I would even expect it. Something like that would have taken me a year. I did it in 6 months time frame, but actually 5 months study time because I had a gap in between studying because I worked at the post office at the time. But that motivation, and I went through all 3 tests.
Yeah.
And I went on this journey before, and I messed up on the same information, that same test 2 twice, and I quit. So that should let you know the power of a good woman. So a woman sees the energy. Some women can read it better than others.
Right, absolutely.
If they embrace their feminine side.
Right, correct.
But you as a man has to be able to receive it as well. But you elevate your game because you elevate your mind. You elevate your acceptance of yourself. So I try to hide my quote unquote intelligence by dressing a certain way. But when I spoke, it betrayed.
It comes across.
It comes across. Oh, you're not no thug. You're an intelligent thug. Which
almost contradicting itself, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now since I learned to my life journey forced me to embrace certain things about myself. When I left the government after 11 years, I became self-employed. I made that choice. And that put me in a different mindset that it's all on me. That certain things where if you don't put foot to the ground, you won't eat. And because of that, I had to do a lot of soul searching. It actually made me tougher. It actually made me have to embrace that debaucherous, that dark side, that monster that I've been trying to deny for all those years. I had to embrace the monster.
Right.
I embraced it a little bit, but when I hit a rock bottom 5 years ago, where I was almost evicted out of where I live at because I wasn't bringing money in, that brought the monster out in terms of, you know what? I may not like what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it because I don't want to be in this position. It made me harder. It made me more stoic. It made me realize, okay, budget, live within your means or below your means. No need to floss. Just use what you have, but make it look as if it's still new.
Right.
And because of that, it built me. It put me in terms of game to another level. Plus, with the people I interact with, gave me more exposure to people of different walks of life. So you automatically have to step up the game because they're looking at you a certain way because I was a limo driver. So my encounters with a lot of different individuals from different walks of life, it made me realize, you know what? I have $1 million mindset. It just not materialized. That doesn't mean I'm lesser than them. And I'm damn sure I'm not going to let somebody make me less than myself. So it's going to force you to step up. And when you step up within yourself, your game with women steps up even more.
Right.
Because now you can be just as blatant. You could be truthful. Because you hit them with some truth. They may not like it. It may be a hard pill to swallow. But they will appreciate it because you are one of the few that have the audacity to tell them the truth. It's just like a woman it was like a woman from FX. She asked me, so did you vote? Because it was around 2016. She was with another limo driver and he looked at me like, don't answer it. I was like, screw it, answer it. I said, no. And she said, why? And I told her, we all know that the president is selected, not elected. And number two, the electoral college votes for the president, not the popular vote. She was like, she scoffed because I had the audacity to deny her.
Right.
And you know what? She called me a cynic. And you know what I did? I smiled. Because I'm not going to let you take me off my square. And that's the confidence that women will see because they can't knock you off that square.
Right.
That means that you will hold her up when she can't hold herself up.
Right.
Because you're always standing.
Right. And that's, somebody said, this cat is overflowing with life-changing jewels, which is true. That's why I have him on. So the question, if our energy is coming as insecure, should we still go out and holler or work on the insecurity first? You do both at the same time.
Yeah.
I've told you that before. You do both at the same time. The reason being, you can't sit at home and do theoretical work first. When you go out, you'll still be inexperienced. What if it takes you 5 years to clear out a good number of insecurities, you're going to be 5 years behind in the game of interacting with women and being effective in the world.
Prime example. Let's say you're good with thinking games. Put yourself in if you get in a situation where it's a thinking game and you show out, you are in your arena.
Right.
Your ego is automatically going to put your confidence on 15. And because your confidence is on 15, because you showing out, women are paying attention, you will automatically draw them to you. And guess what? Since they're in your arena, you'll say whatever you want to say.
Right.
Because the insecurity is gone because you're in your arena of your you're in your comfortable arena.
Right. You gotta be, and I speak to that about you still have to expose your brain to the situation itself. You still have to get yourselves the exposure, because what's going to happen is it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have, how much mental development you've done. Once you show up in society and you still don't know how to operate, all that knowledge is going to disappear because the knowledge has not been embodied. Experience is what embodies knowledge and make it become your own. The Hermetics say, unless you have practiced knowledge, it's not your own.
And I have an analogy for that. Boxing.
Yeah.
You can spar, you can hit the pads, you could do all the road work, you could do the heavy bag, you could do the speed bag. But until you get that first punch,
knock you out.
And once you go against somebody, how do you know that the technique you've been learning?
Yourself.
You can't gauge yourself until you get that first hit. That first hit will put some sense into you to say, I'm going to do what I can to not only evade, but to counter punch.
Now, this is not to be confused with the good advice of getting your life together first, or getting yourself together first. And this is part of getting yourself together first. Right. This is not to be confused with that. This is not to be confused with the advice of get your game together first, get your money together first before you go out there. Now, before you may not go out there to go seek for a relationship, because if you still have insecurity, you're not ready for a relationship, because you will know when you're ready for a relationship when your securities are gone. But you need to be out there interacting with women and interacting with the world, and you need to be out there getting rejected. You need to be out there getting rejected. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth, because before we had buffers such as social media and those websites, so those apps, what are they? Tinder and
right.
And then those apps, before we had that, the man had to go and talk to a woman. So in your DNA right now, in your subconscious mind, your mind knows you need to be out there talking to a woman, not on the phone,
right,
trying to buffer the rejection. In fact, you will get stronger only by being, not only, but also by being rejected so many times. Because the more you get rejected, you will get to a place where you feel like, oh, well, this is not taking me down. This is actually not destroying me at all. You know what? F it. Next time I go, she says, no, that's fine. Next.
And half the time, if you even get rejected and you smile about it and walk away, she may even reconsider because you didn't react like everybody else.
I have an analogy I always use with my guys. I always say, imagine a panel of judges and judging a group of guys versus a group of women at a distance. And they're like, guys, go and talk to these women. But you're free to exercise whatever you feel on the inside. Like, if you feel insecure, don't go. If you feel you're going to get rejected, don't go. Like, you're under no pressure. Just be you. And imagine it's 5 guys, but 4 sits down and 1 guy got up and went and talked to the girls and got rejected. Who do you think won?
Well, it's just like the parable in the
parable of the talents.
Yes, sir. You can't grow something if you don't exercise something. Just like in the the parable of the talents. One man had a talent. One was given 2. He made 4. One was given 5. He made 10. One never spent it.
Right.
That guy who didn't spend
Right.
got that talent taken away.
Right. And he got thrown out of the master's domain. He lost everything. And that's what the saying that says, he who has more will be given to him. And he who doesn't have, even what he has will be taken away from him. That's what Jesus said afterwards. So the judges, I imagine the judges would give some kind of points to that guy who left because he had the guts to go and get rejected. And the other guys who sat down are going to be called punk. Come on, you didn't try. No risk. I mean, you didn't. I mean, obviously. And also, I like to tell guys, going out for what your mind says to go do, like if you see a woman, you want to talk to her, is also on a spiritual level honoring yourself. You're honoring the masculine energy in you. You're honoring the male in you. You're honoring the forward energy, the seed in you as you go out there and do these things. Somebody said the lazy servant. Guys,
Exactly.
that's a good laugh. Thank you. Who's that? Wave TV. You're always here. Thank you. Appreciate it. Guys, it's been a great night. I appreciate all the guys. It's 2.5 hours. I think that's a good time. Thrown into our outer darkness. Yes, he got thrown outside. What he had was taken away from it. So we need to practice our talents. Here's what I tell my guys all the time. You're going to keep hearing it. Learn some, practice some. Go and practice what you've learned. So just like porn recovery, you can't sit here trying to understand what addiction and what addiction recovery is forever. You can't. It's too big. And a lot of it has to do with practicing. Where? Try to go to the gym, try to work out, try to meditate, try to leave that computer alone, try to go to sleep early. It's a lot of good advice that you've already been given, a lot of good practices that you've already heard of.
Correct.
Implement some of them.
Correct.
As you continue your journey of understanding.
Yes.
You can't just, and in fact, doing one only would exhibit polarity in you. You would just create a huge imbalance in your life because you would polarize on one side. So your life would be imbalanced because you're busy getting theories inside of your head at the expense of no practice.
It's okay to feel the way you feel. Don't deny the way you feel. Have the moment. Don't let the moment have you. But start. All you have to do is start one day and choose to say no to instant gratification, because the prize will be more fulfilling later down the road.
Yeah.
Because trust me, if you are on NoFap and then you for a while and you finally get that woman, oh, trust me, your goal is not, you're going to be more about holding on to that seed, and the fight's going to be about her trying to get that energy out of you. But in the process, it's going to be all for her pleasure. Your pleasure is going to be on the fact that you're holding on. So it's a big game. And she's going to get all the pleasure out of it, which is going to make her want you even more. So that's a potential reality. But the reality of it all is you will be rewarded for the discipline.
Yeah.
Discipline is always rewarded.
Always. And even if nobody external of you acknowledges it, your knowledge of it should make you keep it up. It's been a great night, Harvey. Thank you for being here. That conversation has been great. Lots of points have been touched. I appreciate you saying yes automatically, because we only spoke Sunday. Monday. Yesterday, actually.
Yeah,
we only
Monday.
spoke yesterday.
Yeah.
And give it up to Rock. Rock is in the chat as Adonis Wilson. That's him who introduced us. That's my PT there. That's our PT, our personal trainer. He was on the show. He introduced me to Harvey. Actually, he had introduced me to Harvey about 2 or 3 weeks ago, way before the show started. And so thank you for that, Rock. Thank you for being here, Harvey. I'm looking forward to having you again.
It's been
any last words you want to share with the guys?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your platform to speak to other men that's on this journey as well.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the fact that you saw value in me. And I'm appreciative because my goal is to impart wisdom
Right.
to other people. And if I can help one person, I can transition knowing that I made one positive impact on an individual.
Right. And the opportunity has presented itself.
Right. It's been fun.
Yes. And here's the last comment for you.
Thanks, Wave TV.
Thank you, guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe if it's your first time. I'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you for being here. Remember, you are kings. Stay in your kingdom. Practice what you know. Keep that masculinity going. Until next time, you are king, and namaste.
Peace.
You are on the right path. You are on the right journey. The journey of self-discovery. The journey of self-love. The journey of self-empowerment. Stay on this journey.